the Bogosity podcast, early and ad-free. Become a subscriber at Patreon, Subscribestar, or Discord. Use the links at donate.bogosity.tv.
Welcome to the Bogosity podcast for the week of November 16, 2025, the podcast that went chasing waterfalls. This is your host, Shane Killian. Let's misprise the news of the bogus. And we'll begin with an update. Actually, now that I look at it, it seems all our stories this week are updates. Either direct updates to stories we've covered before, or additional stories and continuing coverage. This one is an update to the story of former Kentucky court clerk Kim Davis, who refused to do her job and issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. She was required to do so because of Obergefell v. Hodges in 2015, where the Supreme Court ruled that denying same-sex couples the right to marry was a violation of the 14th Amendment. Nonetheless, Kim Davis repeatedly violated her oath of office and several interceding court orders, resulting in a court ordering her to pay $360,000 in damages and attorney's fees. Understand, we are not talking about pastors in a church. They can deny anyone their services for whatever reason they want. If that were the case with Davis, I'd be on her side, but it isn't. This is about what court clerks and justices of the peace can do. After losing her appeal at the Sixth Circuit, she appealed to the Supreme Court, and the justices just denied certiorari, meaning the Sixth Circuit's ruling stands. Their only statement was, "The motion of Foundation for Moral Law for leave to file a brief as amicus curiae out of time is denied. The petition for a writ of certiorari is denied." Justice Barrett wasn't on the court in 2015 when Obergefell was decided, but she did say that the court should correct mistakes and overturn decisions as they did in Dobbs. However, she said this case was different because people made life-altering decisions as a result of the decision. The court denied cert without comment, but Thomas and Alito wrote a statement that, despite what you might have heard in the media, wasn't a dissent, but was nonetheless critical of Obergefell. However, they both concurred in the denial of cert. Roberts, who dissented in Obergefell, has given no statement. Delaware Law School professor John Culhane explained, "The court was never going to take this case. You didn't have the votes to overturn Obergefell. We have a very unsympathetic petitioner here, someone who openly defied the law and withheld marriage licenses, claiming a religious liberty interest. That's no valid reason for denying couples the licenses they were entitled to." As for why there was no dissent, quote, "Chief Justice Roberts and others are clearly trying to preserve what credibility they have left. Taking this case would have reignited a political firestorm they don't want. It was a very substantial judgment against Davis. Very. And, a civil judgment. And I wouldn't be surprised if it forced her into bankruptcy or something. This was her last hope. She's gone through every level of the appellate process. There's nowhere else to go." After Dobbs, people feared the court might keep pushing, but this time they understood the cost. To overturn Obergefell now would mean chaos, state split on marriage recognition, endless litigation. They weren't willing to spend that political capital for no real gain. As for the voters, they made their statement in 2018 when Davis lost her re-election bid.
Presenting the greatest game this side of Yuggoth. You are H.P. Lovecraft's cat, and your name is Nick. Right, we can't say that on a podcast. Well, anyway, that's the point. Your name is a joke to him. So now, you are out for revenge. Using the Necronomicon, you come to the present day to buy a gun to go vanquish him once and for all. But the Necronomicon is devious, and it summoned Lovecraft's monsters as well. Now, in a crumbling world, you must fight for the revenge you seek. Fight monsters, gain allies, buy guns and armor for yourself and your team. Defeat the bosses of each level. Then get your revenge against Lovecraft himself. Play Lovecraft's Cat. The link is at cat.bogosity.tv. Yeah, we're doing cat.bogosity.tv, not that other one. What, you want me to get kicked off the internet or something?
So now there's an update to our Jan 6 coverage, starting with new videos that have unsurfaced about the behavior of Capitol Police. We know that, just before the riot, they fired potentially lethal rounds into the crowd from above, targeting people in the head, neck, and upper body, including one protester who was shot clean through the cheek. Now, surveillance video shows that 16 people were shot with kinetic impact rounds, including 9 who took shots to the head, face, and neck. Specifically, they were shot with 68 caliber FN-303s, powered by 3,000 psi and traveling at 300 feet per second. Most of the shots were from less than 50 feet away. There have indeed been people killed from being shot from these rounds in the head at short range, although in this case there were no deaths. There were, however, 9 injuries that were serious enough to warrant medical attention. All of this despite Deputy Police Chief Eric Waldo claiming in a radio dispatch that his officers were using indirect firing. Also despite Waldo claiming that he gave repeated warnings to the crowd, when he didn't even have a bullhorn and no warnings were picked up on audio. Ordinarily, kinetic rounds are supposed to be fired at the legs of protesters and only after bouncing them off the ground beforehand, a technique known as pain compliance. But here, the crowd were definitely targeted in their upper bodies and heads. Targeting the head is specifically prohibited by manufacturers and industry safety standards. FN's website specifically says that the company, quote, forbids users from aiming at the head. Stan Kephart, who gives expert witness testimony on police use of force, said after viewing the video that it was, quote, criminally negligent and potentially a lethal act. He also said, quote, there is a wealth of clear and convincing evidence here that police were not trained or equipped to move, disperse, and arrest stragglers. Instead, they adopted a punishment tactic, inflaming the crowd and resulting in injury that they are responsible for. One of those firing on the crowd was training officer Shawnee Kirkhoff, who fired Tippmann 98 pepperball rounds. She told the jury at the trial of the 3 percenters, quote, so it has a small amount of pain compliance, so it should hurt a little bit, so that it should deter actions, as well as when the ball hits something, it is filled with pava powder, so it will launch that pava powder into the air and will affect the nasal passages as well as the eyes, causing stinging, burning. When asked where she aimed, quote, typically I aim for the ground. Well, the video clearly shows she didn't hear. And interestingly, that segues into the next part of the update about the pipe bombs that were found near the DNC and RNC headquarters. One reason why there were so few Capitol Police to deal with the rioters is that, in a precise timing that many found to be a little too coincidental, they were called away to deal with the pipe bombs. But despite claiming to want information from any citizen, enough to offer a $500,000 reward leading to the arrest of the pipe bomber, the FBI didn't do much to actually respond to anyone who contacted them about it. They also had no answer to the numerous questions people had, such as, how was the 1-hour kitchen timer attached to them supposed to time the pipe bombs to go off after 16 hours? So the question is, who is that person caught on camera the day before who is the prime suspect for planting them? According to an investigation confirmed by several intelligence officers, the height, build, and gait of the suspect is a 94 to 98% match for Kirkhoff. When investigators identified Kirkhoff, they contacted former FBI Special Agent Kyle Seraphin, who is doing surveillance just next door. Quote, the FBI put us one door away from the pipe bomber within days of January 6, and we were deliberately pulled away for no logical or logistically investigative reason. And everything about that tells me that they were involved in a cover-up and have been since day one. And he added, direct quote, They were fucking in on it. During the congressional investigation, Thomas Massey released Capitol Police security footage showing that agents were acting nonchalantly after being told someone had found a pipe bomb in the bushes behind the DMC building. There is a pipe bomb! Okay, yeah, whatever. A completely nonchalant reaction to a pipe bomb? What is this, a Canadian airport? The analysis was unable to be done until now because the footage released by the FBI had been downgraded and cut to a lower frame rate. The footage now obtained is much clearer and smoother. Now, to be sure, gate analysis has never been enough to establish someone's guilt. But reasonable suspicion? Enough to say, hey, why don't we go investigate that person? Oh, you betcha! Steve Baker, whose investigative journalism we've covered before and who was involved in this investigation, said on X, "This might just be the biggest scandal and conspiracy in American history. Many heroes were involved in bringing this to light. Some we can name in coming days, some who want no recognition. And there's much more to this yet to be told." Remember, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and it may not be her. Also, keep in mind, she was a trainee and may have thought this was simply a training exercise and had no malicious intent. We just don't know. Meanwhile, Kirchhoff left the Capitol Police in mid-2021 to join the CIA, and she now seems to be permanently unavailable for comment. Former Capitol Police Chief Steven Sund posted to X, "The pipe bombs were discovered with perfect timing to distract, divide, and deplete. The American people demand the truth, and soon. Those responsible must be held accountable." Unfortunately, it's very difficult to hold government accountable for anything. We'll have to see what Kash Patel's FBI does. Personally, I'm not holding my breath. Neither am I hopeful that the legacy news media will do any investigative journalism and let the American people know what's going on. Which means all of the myths and lies about J6 will continue for the foreseeable future.
If you're on the Wi-Fi in a coffee shop or hotel, anyone on that network can get your traffic. Do you really trust all of those strangers? For that matter, do you really trust your ISP? A VPN can protect you from prying eyes, disguise your location, and even foil government censors. It's essential in this day and age, so go to vpn.bogosity.tv and you'll be taken to BoxPN. Starting at just $2.99 a month, you can get unlimited high-speed connections to VPN servers all over the world, and they don't log connections, so your privacy is assured. Traveling abroad, just VPN home, and don't worry about what those other governments are doing. Back at home, stop your ISP from traffic shaping and messing with the quality internet access you're paying good money for. You can connect from multiple machines at once, including your smartphone or tablet, and it supports all the secure standards, including OpenVPN and SSTP. Bypass censors and surveillance with your own secure VPN connection. Go to vpn.bogosity.tv.
Here's an update to a story that we specifically made a placeholder for. Over a year ago, when the RIAA sued Suno, I wanted to demonstrate the current state of the AI for future reference. My only prompt to the AI was a folk song about the RIAA suing Suno, and it came up with the song Money Talks, Music Walks.
Dim lights in smoky rooms, whispered words in a singer's tune. Half the man's lost in the fight, music's gone to men in white.
Suno's voice, it told the tale. Songs like whispers, winds that will. The suits came knocking at his door, tied his tunes forevermore.
Money talks, music walks, chained by rules, silence walks, dreams in court, hearts in halt, creativity, no fault.
Just because it was a demonstration of the state of the technology, I provided no other creative input whatsoever. I also didn't do any remixing or anything like that. This was just for historical preservation. The idea was to have a baseline to compare the progress of future music AIs. And now, there's been a new benchmark in quite an amazing way. An AI-generated song has just went viral and reached #1 on Billboard's Country Digital Song Sales chart. It's from a group named Breaking Rust, but no one seems to know who they are. The song, Walk My Walk, seems to be completely algorithmically generated, both music and lyrics. At least, there's no singer or lyricist credited. That means it should be public domain, so let's listen to a bit of it.
I've lost some friends, made a few new foes, but that's just life, that's how it goes. I ain't bending over just to please a crowd. If I fall down, I'll fall down proud. I talk my truth, I live my way. Ain't nobody gonna take my say. This road's been rough, but I learned to trade. It's sweat, soul, and dues I paid. You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't changing my tone, ain't changing my song. I was born this way, been loud too long. You can hate my style, you can roll your eyes, but I ain't slowing down, I was born to rise. So kick them rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk.
Wow. I don't know about you, but I like it. It's actually such a good message, it's hard to believe it came from an AI. It's clearly vastly improved from the Money Talks Music Walks days, but we also see some of the old telltale aspects unique to AI, including the fact that they never quite know when to end the song. By the way, one thing you should never do when watching this song is hit the F12 key and copy the link to download the audio. Because PD or not, that's illegal according to the RIAA, but that's another story. Check my channel for more. Of course, the controversy immediately broke with complaints that people won't like it because AI has nothing to say that people connect to. I don't know, sounded like it connected with me. That song captures exactly how I feel a lot of the time. And apparently, millions of others think so too. So who are you to speak for them? Let's jump straight to the top-level idiocy with the next post from Matt Walsh. This AI singer has 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. I hate this so much. I cannot describe how much I hate it. If I could commit a genocide against AI, I would. AI art is the death of the soul. Pure dystopian hell. Did I mention that I hate this? Geez, talk about the things that could make Skynet want to kill us. I guess once a warmonger, always a warmonger. The general rule is if it evokes an emotional response, it's art. Well, that's a pretty emotional response. Although I think he captured the soulless and inhuman aspects a lot better than the AI did. Anyway, why don't we let the AI ironically deliver its own response?
Let the haters talk, let the rumors fly. I ain't got time to wonder why. The good Lord knows the man I am, and I'll die standing tall with a mic in my hand. You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't selling my soul for a seat at your table. I'm rough, I'm raw, I'm wild, I'm able. You can hate my fire, but you can't kill my spark. I'm a midnight flame burning through the dark. So kick them rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk.
Yeah, you tell him, Rusty. Another point is that AI might be used by people filling a niche that isn't served by the traditional artists under the thumb of their sanitized corporate masters. When human artists trade their souls for a copyright, bowing to the grinding industrial factories that copyright all but mandates, the people will find a way to make their voices be heard. So I'm sorry to tell you this, but if you don't like this because it reduces music to a formula and mechanically generates an output not that creatively derived from everything that came before, well, that's been the state of popular music for a while now. And yet, None of that seems to earn the derision of the people who say they oh so much care about art. Meanwhile, there seem to be a lot of people on X and other social media who love the song. And if people enjoy listening to it, isn't that what really matters?
I want to tell you about the eyeglasses I've been wearing for years. As people can see on my videos, I have a very strong prescription, which makes glasses more expensive, especially when I need computer glasses, reading glasses, prescription sunglasses, and most expensively, progressive lenses for general everyday wear. To save money while still getting quality glasses, I get them from Firmoo. In fact, I just got a pair of progressives with high-index aspherical lenses and a nice pair of frames my wife loves for just over $100. It would have been $500 to get them through my eye doctor. Not only do they look good, the glasses are durable. I've worn many pairs for several years without problems. All orders come with a 30-day return policy, a 3-month warranty, and one-on-one customer service. Go to Firmoo, that's FIRMOO.Bogosity.tv anytime you need quality glasses at a low price. Once again, that's Firmoo.Bogosity.tv.
And now it's time to overcapitalize this week's biggest Bogon emitter. A lot of the anti-AI movement is really just a cover for the long-time anti-scraping movement. A lot of people don't like the fact that public content is, well, public, and once you show it to people, they can do whatever they want to with it short of a copyright violation. They long ago lost this fight, but AI gives them a renewed chance to try. It's part of the fight for the open internet, and now Wikipedia has revealed themselves to be on the wrong side of it. Gone is the Wikipedia that protested SOPA PIPA and all sorts of intrusive regulations. The Wikimedia Foundation has made a blog post telling AI developers that they should use its content responsibly by paying them to scrape their data. But Wikipedia is public domain! This would be like if Project Gutenberg demanded licensing fees. They also screeched that the bots evade detection, which they're also allowed to do. So are you, by the way, by using those same techniques to foil fingerprinting schemes. This would stop you from maintaining your privacy as well. Quote, for people to trust information shared on the internet, platforms should make it clear where the information is sourced from and elevate opportunities to visit and participate in those sources. Tell us you have no clue how AI works without saying you have no clue how AI works. Of course, they also earlier this year posted a new AI strategy to help with a lot of tasks such as translation, moderation, and onboarding. So they're hypocrites as well. One more way Wikipedia has fallen from grace and fallen hard. No one should give another dime to Wikipedia after this. So all of that makes Wikipedia this week's biggest Bogon emitter.
Do you have children, or nieces or nephews? Are you homeschooling, or just want to counter some of the socialist indoctrination most children get in school? If so, go to Bogosity.tv/TuttleTwins, and you'll be taken to a website where you can get some great books for elementary-aged children. The Tuttle Twins books are books about liberty and free market economics that include children's versions of Bastiat's The Law, Leonard Read's I, Pencil, and Hayek's The Road to Serfdom, as well as books about the Federal Reserve and how regulations protect business cronies. They'll learn about the harm caused by eminent domain, or regulations passed in the name of safety, and fundamental concepts of liberty. And as you can see from the sample pages on the website, they're all easy to read and nicely illustrated. They're just $9.99 a piece, or get a special discount as well as free bonuses when you purchase all 5. You can even buy in bulk to donate to schools and local libraries. So get the Tuttle Twins books at Bogosity.tv/TuttleTwins.
And now let's hyper-immobile-pilificationify this week's
Idiot Extraordinaire.
And this week it goes to Google for what's become a severe issue between tech giants and small open source projects. In this case, the project is FFmpeg, which is another of those you might be running in a lot of the software you use without realizing it. FFmpeg's job is to encode and decode video and audio in just about every codec imaginable. Google has deployed advanced AI tools to find security vulnerabilities, which is good, right? The issue is when their target is small volunteer-run projects like FFmpeg, especially given how underfunded they are, particularly in proportion to how widely used and relied upon their software is. So what happens when this security infrastructure turns small projects into victims? Google's AI, known as Big Sleep, has been finding all sorts of obscure bugs in FFmpeg, so obscure it's unclear if they ever would have been exploited without Google finding them. FFmpeg tweetexted, "Security issues are taken extremely seriously in FFmpeg, but fixes are written by volunteers. This point cannot be emphasized enough. FFmpeg is written almost exclusively by volunteers." So all this new AI bug hunting represents an immense burden on open source maintainers who are already stretched thin. The latest controversy started with a medium impact issue described as exceptionally secure. That kind of ruffled the feathers of the software's volunteer maintainers. As one post pointed out, Google spends literally millions of dollars for security researchers to find bugs in projects like FFmpeg while contributing next to nothing of value to the projects themselves, especially for bugs that are, in FFmpeg's words, CVE slop. FFmpeg said on X, "The core of the debate is Google should send patches. Billions of dollars of AI infrastructure and highly paid security engineers used to pressure volunteers into fixing issues for free." Good point. Are you telling me that a trillion-dollar corporation like Google can't put some of their massive engineering talent towards submitting a few fixes? Here's my question. If their AI can find the bugs, why can't their AI write the patches? By the way, Google makes extensive use of FFmpeg in the backend for YouTube. Shouldn't they at least be giving them a good deal of funding? FFmpeg is far from the only project facing these issues. For another example, libxml2, another that you may have been running extensively in the background without realizing it, recently saw its maintainer, Nick Wellenhofer, step down because he had to, quote, "spend several hours each week dealing with security issues reported by third parties. Most of these issues aren't critical, but it's still a lot of work. In the long term, this is unsustainable for an unpaid volunteer like me. In the long run, putting such demands on OSS maintainers without compensating them is detrimental. It's even more unlikely with Google Project Zero, the best white hat security researchers money can buy, breathing down the necks of volunteers." Made even worse is a policy change back in July that only gives projects a week between discovery and publicly announcing it. A lot of these rules are put in place so that big corporations like Microsoft don't just ignore them, instead putting pressure on them to patch their software. But obviously, those issues don't exist with open source software, and the last thing OSS maintainers need is more pressure. Especially ones that give massive benefits to giants like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon who don't seem to feel any obligation to give back. Add to that these numerous AI-scripted bug reports, and it starts to look more like bullying. In fact, FFmpeg said, "Arguably the most brilliant engineer in FFmpeg left because of this. He reverse-engineered dozens of codecs by hand as a volunteer. Then security researchers and corporate employees came along, repeatedly insisted critical security issues were fixed, immediately waiving their CVEs. This was hugely demotivating to the fun and enjoyment of reverse engineering." Mark Atwood said in a reply, "I spent about a week a year at my time at Amazon preventing us from actually fucking over FFmpeg. I usually had to start each conversation with, 'They are not a vendor. There is no NDA. We have no leverage. Your VP has refused to help fund them, and they could kill 3 major product lines tomorrow with an email. So stop and listen to me.'" Security researcher Katie Mussori's exed, The problem with what Google did in this case was in not applying its considerable resources into proactively offering patches to FFmpeg, not that it applied its default disclosure terms to the bugs it found and reported. More recently, FFmpeg X'd. One last thing. Google boasted to the media about its AI-detected vulnerabilities before FFmpeg volunteers were able to send fixes. A dozen AI vulnerability reports were dumped on FFmpeg volunteers at the same time Google was boasting to TechCrunch. Is Google security really about marketing? Maybe things could turn around if more Google engineers, cognizant of this issue, contemplated that slogan on their wall that says, "Don't be evil." Oh, wait. Well, if you want to be better than Google and you have any coding skills, maybe volunteer a bit of them at FFmpeg. So all that makes Google this week's
Idiot Extraordinaire.
Well, that wraps up this. Sir, don't you think it really would look better if this kind of thing were done by a woman? Edition of the Bogosity podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go to donate.bogosity.tv for several ways to support and discord.bogosity.tv to join the discussion. Subscribe at the Discord, Patreon, or Subscribestar, and you can listen early and ad-free. Thank you for listening. Until next time, here's a quote from Peter Sunday. Copyright is not the thing that makes artists money. It's only for their brokers and distributors. The Bogosity podcast is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License.
Bogosity.